You may recognize Tamar Braxton from the long list of reality television shows she has been affiliated with. From Braxton Family Values to Tamar and Vince, and more recently, College Hill and the Braxtons, she has steadily built an empire both as a reality television personality as well as a producer. However, there was a time when Tamar was fresh out of a girl group, eager to start a solo career as a professional singer signed to an ambitious new label. Upon leaving the Braxtons and signing a contract with Dreamworks Records, Toni Braxton's youngest sister was poised to become a hugely successful musical artist as she entered her first album cycle.
Turn it up.
Just cause you tricked a little dope tonight, that don't mean that you taking me home tonight. Just cause you tricked a little dope tonight, that don't mean that you taking me home tonight.
Mr. First Class Baller, got a few things to say to you. My God. But now you're getting on my nerves with your tricking bad habit issues. Now I'm sure if I was with you, no doubt I would be laced up. But I gotta turn people to, don't get it confused. My mind is on other things, not you.
Tamar Estine Braxton, the youngest of 6 children, 5 girls and 1 boy, began singing in her father's Maryland church. Eventually, she and her sisters, Tracy, Tawanda, and Tony, formed a group, the Braxtons. They were signed to a single deal on Arista and released the single Good Life. A few years later, they did a showcase for L.A. Reid and Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, who were in the process of forming a record label. There was one problem. They had just signed TLC and had their sights on someone to tout as LaFace Records' leading female artist, and that person was Toni. Toni, the eldest Braxton sister, was signed and would find accidental success with an Anita Baker reject entitled Love Should Have Brought You Home, which was featured in the film Boomerang. She also brought her sisters along as background singers, and they too were signed with LaFace. But Tawanda, Tracy, Trina, and Tamar would push on without her. And after 5 years and 2 record deals, the Braxtons' first album was finally released on Atlantic Records. The album, which I have discussed in a previous video, did spawn 4 singles that failed to set up the Braxtons as the girl group version of Toni. The Braxtons did not release a second album because in 1998, after working on Demonstration Records, which wowed Dreamworks executives, Tamar signed a recording contract with Dreamworks and began work on a solo project. Also signed as an artist to Red Zone Entertainment, Tamar began work on her new album entitled Ridiculous in early 1999 per a write-up in Billboard magazine. An EP was released in February of 1999 to generate buzz, featuring songs entitled Let Him Go. Just Cause. It's Time. And Get Mine. The EP failed to make an impact on radio, so her album, which was scheduled for a November 1999 release, was pushed back. The album was not completely abandoned. Old tracks were swapped for new ones, and on October 5th, 1999, she released a single, Get None, featuring Jermaine Dupri and rapper Emil.
Y'all see live from LA. We got the comedy that'll make you pee on it.
She made an appearance on BET's Live in LA to promote the single, whilst also giving an insight to her upcoming album.
Hey, hey, hey. No, 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 no. It's the first class baller. Got a few things to say to you. But now you're getting on the nerves. But you tripping that habit issues. Now I'm sure it goes with you. No doubt I'll be laced up. But I gotta turn it to you. To get it confused. My days on other things not you. Yeah. On your cell phone, it don't get done. You can page me when you don't get done. You can buy me diamonds, nice trips on the beach, but you still don't get mine. Stop trying to use cash to get you some ass. You ain't gonna get none.
Look at the love, look at the love. Cool. So the name of the album is Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why did you
like
pick that
your
name
outfit,
Ridiculous?
girl. Ridiculous.
Thank you.
And them boots. They loving it. They loving the outfit though. Look at it. Yeah. Yes. Woo. It's a wild life going on down there. So, Ridiculous. Why you pick the name Ridiculous for the album?
Well, Ridiculous was the best name that described me as a person.
Oh,
And,
really?
you know, once you listen to the album, once you see me perform, you understand why.
And you just get real ridiculous.
Yeah, I sure do.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Well, you got a really sexy image, and
Thank you.
I got the proof right here, homie.
Oh yeah. We was That is right there on that. That is right there. Look at that.
I'm a part-time lover.
Get None debuted on the Hot R&B Hip Hop chart on October 23rd, 1999 at number 68, number 27 on the Hot R&B Hip Hop Single Sales chart, and number 61 on the Hot 100 Single Sales chart. The following week, it jumped 3 chart positions on the R&B Single Sales chart and Hot 100 Sales chart, and the video Get None debuted on BET. The Darren Grant directed video received moderate spins on BET.
Cause you tricked a little dope tonight. That don't mean that you taking me home tonight.
It's the first class baller. Got a few things to say to you. But now you're getting on my nerves. But you're tricking bad habit issues. Now I'm sure it goes with you. No doubt I'll be laced up. But I gotta turn people to. Don't get it confused. My mind is on other things not you.
And by December 1999, single sales for Get None were beginning to fall off. By March, following a promotional tour beginning in January 2000, it seemed as if it was time for a new single. Gerald Busby, head of urban music for Dreamworks, is quoted as saying, "Get None feels like a Bills, 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 but it is not the definitive single on Tamar's album." That single came on March 7th, 2000, entitled If You Don't Wanna Love Me. Which debuted on the R&B charts that same month at number 73. She performed the song on the Jenny Jones Show.
Just the other day, and I wanna say that I finally realized the words I love you don't mean a thing. It's so hard for me to say, 'cause you mean everything to me. But I guess I gotta move on, even though though it hurts, I gotta be strong. And if you don't wanna love me, don't love me, don't wanna touch me, don't touch me, I don't do anything if you don't wanna do. And if you don't miss me, don't wanna kiss me, go kiss me, I don't do anything that you don't wanna do. No.
And Planet Groove.
On the night that you were hanging late, all alone laying awake in my bed, so never find food on your plate. I refuse to believe that you never ever hung me. I've got to move on. Our love is gone, and this house is not a home. Don't touch me.
The video received moderate rotation on BET, much like the previous single. From its debut date, March 17th to March 25th, the single jumped 36 chart positions on the R&B charts. It also began to receive airplay as it entered the R&B hip-hop airplay chart. If You Don't Wanna Love Me also broke the pop charts at number 98.
That you don't wanna do.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Tamar Braxton, beautiful voice.
By April, the song rose 9 chart positions on the pop charts, whilst also rising on the R&B hip-hop sales chart. By this point, her album had been out for weeks, as on March 21st, 2000, the project, no longer entitled Ridiculous, but self-entitled, was released and debuted the following month at number 127 on the Hot 200, where it stayed for 4 weeks before falling off the chart entirely. The album fared better on the top R&B hip-hop albums chart, where it peaked at number 42. This, however, was not enough for Dreamworks Records, and at some point, she was dropped or released from the label. The reasons for this go deeper than just record sales, though. In a 1999 Billboard magazine article, Tracy Hopkins wrote, with the March 21st release of her self-titled debut album on Dreamworks, Tamar is ready to prove she's more than just Tony's baby sister. Toni Braxton loomed over Tamar's new career larger than Tamar herself. The success of Toni's 1993 self-titled album, which garnered her mass acclaim and sales, launched her to stardom. Her second release, Secrets, contained the smash hits Unbreak My Heart and You're Making Me High. This is wonderful for Toni, but in the interviews, time that could have been spent on Tamar's artistry was instead used to discuss having an older sister who found consistent success doing the very same thing they used to do together as children. So, guess who else dropped an immensely successful album 1 month after Tamar dropped her self-titled?
Scorching temperatures continue as the heat just keeps on coming.
On April 25th, 2000, LaFace Records released Toni Braxton's third album, The Heat.
This summer, there's no escaping the heat. The Heat, the hottest album yet from Toni Braxton.
By the end of April, when Tamar was nearly falling off the Hot 100, Toni was sitting pretty at number 3. By May, Tamar had disappeared from the chart altogether.
So, yo, how do you feel right now coming out, like, at the same time as your sister, you know what I'm saying?
I feel great, you know, because it gives us the opportunity to do a lot of things together, like some shows and stuff like that. Yeah, coming up pretty soon, and, like, some guest appearances and, like, radio shows and stuff like that. So we have a ball, because, you know, it's lonely out on the road by yourself. And, you know, when you can travel with your sister and stuff like that, it just makes it more fun and stuff.
Hey, but do you get tired of people asking you questions about your sister?
Sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, only because, like, I have my own album out and I'm trying to get my own identity and stuff like that. But some questions I don't mind because, you know, that's my girl. This
leads me to my point. The timing of her first album could not have been worse, which meant someone somewhere had to choose between music by a multi-platinum Grammy Award-winning artist and one who was just at the genesis of her career. Who do you think most people presented with this dilemma chose? Lastly, Tamar's label choice was concerning.
Because Dreamworks is a new, great company. Everyone here seems to know what they're doing, and they have a passion for the music as well as their artists. And so I thought it would be a great place to start, you know, my career.
Dreamworks Records was founded in 1996 by David Geffen, Steven Spielberg, and Jeffrey Katzenberg as a subsidiary of Dreamworks Pictures after Geffen sold his label, Geffen Records, to MCA. Mo Utsen, who co-ran the label, described it as a creatively driven operation that stood in stark contrast to the music industry's trend towards corporate control. Since it was a subsidiary of a motion picture corporation, a lot of its releases were movie or TV soundtracks, but some of the signed talents included the Isley Brothers, Backstreet, and George Michael. By 1998, Tamar was in Atlanta, working with Christopher Tricky Stewart as he pursued a production deal. It was the demo for If You Don't Want to Love Me that got both Tamar and Tricky deals at Dreamworks, with Tamar signing an artist contract and Tricky's Red Zone Entertainment inking a production deal. Tamar was a part of a crop of artists such as rapper Soleil and Tyrese, who were affiliated with the Red Zone. While Soleil, who only released one album, Skin Deep, had top 10 and 20 pop hits from her album, Tamar's singles did not fare as well. In an aforementioned Billboard article, Busby claimed Tamar really represents Dreamworks in what we want to produce as a label, while also laying out his compassion to her as an artist. Well, he wasn't wrong, at least about her representing Dreamworks, because much like her stint with the label, Dreamworks Records was short-lived, being sold by late 2003. In a later interview, Tamar gave her opinion on the album, calling it robotic, saying she did not consider it her first true album.
My first record that I did was very robotic. And, you know, it was almost like karaoke singing. You know, I was singing these songs that people wanted me to sing, dressing like the way that everybody wanted me to dress. I had no, like, identity with the records. I was very young, and, you know, everybody wanted me to sound like my sister Toni. And just because I could didn't mean I should. And that was proven. It didn't work out too well.
There was a lot that went wrong on the label's part that made her album cycle short, but the root of it perhaps lies in what is actually her first release as a solo artist, a 1999 EP, which included 4 tracks. The failure of her EP is likely why her Ridiculous album was canceled ahead of its November 1999 release date, and the lack of hype coupled with promotion would extend throughout the album's short cycle. A dead manager also did not help. On July 10, 1999, James Newman, son and manager of Gladys Knight and Tamar Braxton, passed away of heart failure. 2 weeks later, Tamar signed with Michael Malden's Artistic Control Artist Management. That means for 2 weeks, Tamar, just ahead of an album release, was without management. In a review of her second single, Billboard magazine stated, "Tamar remains an undiscovered treasure, perhaps because of a questionable first single and Dreamworks' lackadaisical approach to breaking Tamar. The project is full of potential hits, richly produced with full contemporary stylings, in high gear and cutting-edge industry heavyweights in the mix." In other words, Get None was perhaps not the best first single, especially when there are Tim and Bob produced songs such as Tonight. You Don't Know.
You can buy me down, no. You can send me on trips, but you can give me love. You can send me roses, take me out on the town. You can show me love.
And Miss Your Kiss right there.
Let's take your time, we've got a night, so many things we're gonna do. I'm ready, I miss your kiss. Made love to my mind, I won't be shy, so many things I wanna do.
Despite the failure of her album, there was still evidence of a clear push for Tamar. Gerald Busby himself said he signed her to be Dreamworks' Janet Jackson. She was featured on rapper Soleil's debut.
Of humor and drama.
I'm from a church background, like my father was a pastor, so, sometimes in life you stray away from things and not, realize what the truth is.
The soundtrack of the 2001 film Kingdom Come.
I just want to get across to people that, you can do whatever you want to do, but, you have to go back home someday.
Silk's 2001 album.
Don't leave me, no, don't leave me now. No.
Tamar also made an appearance on Master P's 2000 album, Ghetto Postage, on the track My Babuski.
My Babuski, you heard me? Tell me, can you keep a secret? Tell me, boy, exactly what you do before I make you my boo. Tell me, can you keep a secret? Tell me, boy, exactly what you do before I make you my boo.
Tamar also helped pen songs for her sister's The Heat album. Songs which, unfortunately, did not make the project.
On her album, and I'm very excited. Her and I co-wrote the songs together. And, it's just wonderful that we collaborated like that. I never thought that, we would even sing or even write together, so it's very exciting for me.
Exactly what went wrong with this era again? Well, her record label expected her to be Tony 2.0 and Janet Jackson. Her signing to a label that primarily served as a pusher for TV and movie soundtracks, and the fact that her Grammy-nominated sister released a Grammy-nominated project just 1 month after her debut. That is what went wrong with this era, and why Tamar rarely mentions it.
But I never knew that I wanted to sing by myself. I always thought that I would sing with my sisters. I never came across to myself as being a solo artist because I was always used to being with my sister. Watching my sister, watching her, you know, go through the transaction from being my sister until the superstar Tamar Braxton, watching other artists as they grew, not that I am that old, but I mean, as much as I could, watching them and seeing them, so that's what really helps me.
I'm familiar with your first couple of singles, but I just found out that you was Tamar Braxton's sister, so I never really knew, and you holding your own though, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Thank you. So yo, how do you feel about the love that you're receiving, you know what I'm saying?
I feel great. My album came out March 21st, it's almost gold, so I mean it makes me feel great, you know, that I got a lot of support and stuff like that, and everybody giving me a chance of being, you know, just Tamar and stuff like that, not expecting to hear, you know, nothing else, you know, some Tamar Braxton stuff, because I'm on my own.